You a good kid. I don't want to have to hurt you, bro. We're gonna need you, bro. We're gonna need you.
Shedeur or Dillon?
Shedeur, hands down. But Shedeur needs to let go of the ball every now and then. A lot of that is he's trying to make extra plays and stuff, but Shedeur all the way.
History was made at First Energy Stadium on Sunday, but not in the way anyone had scripted it. Yes, Myles Garrett finally crushed the single-season NFL sack record after 3 long, nerve-wracking weeks of waiting. Yes. The Cleveland Browns somehow dragged themselves to a wild, come-from-behind win over the Cincinnati Bengals to close out a brutal season. But that wasn't the moment that shook the league. The real shockwave came after the final whistle. What Myles Garrett said about Shedeur Sanders in his post-game interview wasn't just casual praise or locker room respect. It sounded like something much bigger, a passing of the torch. This wasn't noise, this wasn't hype. This was a franchise icon openly recognizing who's next. This was validation. This was unity. This was the type of moment Browns fans have been starving for across decades of dysfunction and disappointment. You don't hear statements like that unless something real is happening behind closed doors. To understand how massive this moment was, you have to rewind the tape. For 3 straight weeks, Myles Garrett had history in his sights. He was sitting at 22.5 sacks, just half a sack away from breaking a record that had survived eras, legends, and rule changes. Every single opponent knew it. Every offensive coordinator built their entire game plan around stopping one man. Double teams, triple teams, chip blocks, quick throws, max protection. Anything to keep Garrett from getting free. The pressure wasn't just on the stat sheet, it was written all over every snap. You could feel the frustration building as the weeks passed. Then came the season finale against Cincinnati, a game loaded with implications and legacy-defining moments. For 3 quarters, it looked like history would slip away again. The Bengals did everything possible to keep Joe Burrow upright. Garrett was met with bodies on nearly every pass rush. There were no clean lanes, no easy wins, no mercy. Snap after snap, the moment kept getting delayed. The tension kept rising. Then, champions do what champions always do. With just 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter, Cincinnati blinked. They made the one mistake you can't afford to make against a player like Myles Garrett. They left him one-on-one. That was it. Garrett exploded off the edge like he was fired out of a cannon.
When you're a young guy, trying to be a leader, the fact that you really don't understand or realize if you have that platform, you just kind of have to be, given to you. You kind of have to be, pushed into it or guided into it. Let yourself, be that person, have that role, and that's by, us as veterans enabling that, those younger guys, those first, second, third year guys, let them know that, this is our team just as much as yours. Take ownership of it, and don't be afraid to say what's on your mind. If you see something, say something. This game, like I said, it goes by quick. So, we can't be mincing words just because we're scared to say something or you don't feel like you have the right yet.
He blew past his blocker with a vicious speed rush and slammed Joe Burrow into the turf. Sack number 23. History. The stadium erupted. Absolute chaos. Teammates flooded the field. Defense, offense, coaches. Everybody. This wasn't forced celebration. This was raw emotion. Pure joy, brotherhood. And here's what makes it even crazier. Nobody in NFL history has ever recorded 23 sacks while playing for a team with the worst offense in football. That matters. It means fewer passing situations. Fewer opportunities. Less stat padding than any elite pass rusher before him. Opponents rarely had to throw late in games because they were already ahead. Garrett still did it anyway. That's dominance. When asked about the moment afterward, Garrett didn't boast. He didn't flex. He told the truth. He said, "Man, it was everything I expected. It was tough. I knew they were going to make it difficult. I don't think I saw more than 3 singles on a real drive the whole game." And that honesty set the stage for what came next, the moment that changed the conversation around this franchise entirely. I had to make that moment count, and the feeling couldn't be better. That line says everything. 3 single blocks the entire game. That's it. The Bengals dared to leave Myles Garrett one-on-one maybe 3 times all afternoon. And the moment they slipped, just once, Garrett ended it. That's what legends do. They don't need volume, they need opportunity. and they cash in immediately. But here's where the story flips in a way nobody saw coming. Because while Garrett's record-breaking sack will live forever in the box score, what happened after that moment is what may define the future of the Cleveland Browns. With the team still trailing and the game hanging by a thread, Shedeur Sanders had to take over. No excuses, no safety net, no alternate ending. Just a rookie quarterback thrown into the most pressure-loaded situation imaginable. Season finale, franchise legend just made history, and the entire stadium holding its breath. And he delivered. Shedeur Sanders marched the Browns down the field with surgical precision. Clutch throw after clutch throw. Third down conversions. Calm feet, calm eyes. No panic, no hero ball. Just control, just command. Drive alive, clock moving, defense stressed. And just like that, Sanders put his team in position for Dustin Hopkins to do his job. Game-winning field goal. Time expired. Browns win 20-18. Myles Garrett gets his record and the victory. And Shedeur Sanders proves again that the moment doesn't scare him. That's mental toughness. That's the clutch gene. That's franchise quarterback DNA. But the real noise started with what Myles Garrett said after watching that drive. What he said about Shedeur Sanders. What he said about trust. When asked about watching Sanders lead the offense into field goal range, Garrett didn't hesitate. He said, "Once we got in field goal range, I knew he was going to seal it. This is the moment that he's been waiting for, God willing. He went out there and put it right down the middle. I was excited. I love winning." Read that again. I knew he was going to seal it. That's not hope. That's not optimism. That's certainty. That's belief. That's a defensive superstar, a future Hall of Famer, saying his rookie quarterback was built for that exact moment. This is a man who just broke one of the most respected records in NFL history, telling the world he trusted the kid with the game on the line. That matters.
Just tell him to keep his head up. I know there was one drive in which he kind of walked off, and I saw him. He was putting his head down. I know he was kind of thinking about, I know he wants to make the play. He wants to, have that game-changing drive because, he feels like he has that ability, and we've seen it. So, don't be discouraged from one drive or two drives. It's a good football team over there. So, just trying to keep him to keep his confidence high, and keep on chasing that standard in which he set. And we're going to continue to support him. He spoke after the game, and he wanted to pin it on himself and his performance, but we're not going to allow him to do that. It's a team game, so we're all in this together.
I said he addressed the entire team in the locker room after the game.
Then Garrett added something that locked it all in. He said, "It didn't matter whether it's the beginning of the season, end of the season, last game of the season. I'm just proud of him and glad to have a win. Proud of him. Let that sit." Myles Garrett, the face of the franchise, the leader of the locker room, the man who carried this team through losing seasons, publicly said he's proud of Shedeur Sanders. That's not just a compliment. That's a statement. That's a torch being handed forward. That's validation from the alpha in the room. That's confirmation that this locker room sees Sanders as the real deal. And to truly understand how heavy this moment was, you have to know what Shedeur was dealing with before kickoff, because what he revealed after the game stopped everyone cold. When asked about his emotions on that final drive, Shedeur Sanders didn't dodge it. He was honest. He said, "I'll say it's a lot. I'll say all week I've been dealing with a lot spiritually. Different battles I had to overcome. That's why my body language, everything was off. Spiritually, battles, body language off. That's not football talk. That's real life. That's mental pressure. That's emotional strain. That's the kind of weight that doesn't show up on a stat sheet." Think about what this young man has been pushed through all season. A rookie quarterback thrown into chaos from day one, playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Pressure in his face. Hits piling up. Zero margin for error. On top of that, he dealt with a coaching situation that never fully committed to him. Decisions that made it feel like he had to prove himself every single snap, not just to opponents, but internally. That kind of environment breaks players fast. Then he lost his most trusted target when Cedric Tillman went down with injury. Chemistry gone, security blanket gone. Just another obstacle added to the pile. And the noise never stopped. Constant criticism, endless doubt, weekly debates about whether he was the guy. Every mistake magnified. Every struggle turned into speculation. Now add something deeper, something heavier. Shedeur Sanders admitted he was battling things internally, mentally and spiritually. that were affecting his confidence, his focus, even his body language. That's pressure way beyond football. But here's where the story turns special. Here's where real culture shows up. Shedeur continued explaining what happened next, and his words revealed why this Browns locker room is different. He said that once they reached halftime and got into the locker room, something changed. Close teammates, real friends, the ones you need when things feel heavy, they pulled him aside. They spoke life into him. They reminded him who he is. They reminded him what he's capable of. That's not coaching. That's brotherhood. That's what real teams do. They don't let their quarterback spiral. They don't pile on. They lift him up. They give him clarity when the moment feels cloudy. Shedeur explained it plainly. So then, as you see right back after halftime, then we start getting our rhythm. We start being us. So I think today, overall, mentally, we won different battles. I think we won mentally. Read that again. We won mentally. That's the entire game right there. This wasn't just about throwing routes on air or winning one-on-ones. This game was about toughness, about belief, about staying grounded when everything feels unstable. The Browns didn't just win on the scoreboard, they won in their heads. And that's why they finished the job. Shedeur then broke down the final drive with the awareness of someone far beyond his rookie status. He said, I think going back to the final minute drives that we had a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't successful. We was able to get that opportunity and be able to drive down the field and do what we did. That matters. Earlier in the season, he'd been in that spot before. Late game chances and game on the line. And it didn't go his way. But instead of letting those moments define him, he studied them. He grew from them. He kept going. Shedeur added, Dustin, being able to get back in that position how it was, I knew the whole time he was going to be able to make it. So I think it was a bunch of different battles overall that we won today, and it started up here mentally. That's growth. That's maturity. That's a quarterback understanding the moment instead of fighting it. Failures didn't break him. They sharpened him. And when the moment came back around, he was ready. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. Then Shedeur explained his mindset on that final possession. And it tells you everything about how he thinks. When asked what he wanted to prove, especially with Myles Garrett's historic moment hanging in the air, his answer was calm, grounded, and powerful. He said, I think all our goals and everything is aligned, so I don't think it's much more want to than that. I think the want to is to prove that I'm able to drive down the field and that a bad half doesn't define character. That's it. Not ego, not panic, not proving critics wrong. Proving growth. Proving reliability. Proving that one rough stretch doesn't define who you are. He finished by saying, each week it was building different things and accomplishing different things and being able to prove to myself, but not just myself, but this team and everybody, that in certain situations I learn from. I grow from a bad half. It doesn't define character. Let that sit for a second. Shedeur Sanders, a rookie quarterback who struggled early, is making something crystal clear. Adversity doesn't define who you are. How you respond to it does. He had a rough first half. His body language was off. He was carrying internal weight. But instead of folding, instead of making excuses, instead of letting one bad stretch turn into a lost game, he reset at halftime. He listened. He recalibrated. He locked back in. And what came out in the second half looked like a completely different quarterback. When asked what he saw on those critical throws during the final drive, the comeback route, the crossing route, the plays that flipped field position and put the Browns into field goal range. Shedeur's answer showed what happens when preparation meets rhythm. He said, I think it was just clicking. I think we got back a lot to what we've been doing, honestly. Being able to go through the keys and reads, those are the stuff that I know like the back of my hand. That's muscle memory. That's reps. That's work showing up when it matters most. Shedeur continued, that's where reps and all that different type of stuff come into play, where you're able to execute each and every play. No matter what defense they put out there, it was just clicking. That's not luck. That's preparation. When the pressure peaked and the margin disappeared, he didn't guess. He trusted what he knew. He trusted his reads. He trusted the work he put in all year. And because of that, he executed with precision when the game demanded it most. But there's another layer to this story that matters even more. Something Shedeur revealed that explains the weight he's been carrying all season. When pressed further about the spiritual battles he mentioned earlier, Shedeur didn't back away. He got even more honest. He said, I'm able to recognize it, but it's all in the mental. I think the devil is going to attack you different ways, like people around you and everything. Honestly, this whole year has been a long year. ups, downs, different feelings. That's vulnerability. That's awareness. He continued, so you gotta be able at some point to talk to people. Sometimes you gotta lean on people. Shedeur is acknowledging that pressure doesn't just come from defenses. It comes from doubt, from noise, from expectations, from constant scrutiny. All of it stacks mentally and emotionally. And then he shared the moment that changed everything, halftime. He said, that's what my guys in there was able to come to life. That's whenever they talk to me. No, bro, do you? This ain't you right now. That's the type of stuff that gets you going. That's leadership from the locker room. He added, you need people to let you know who you are. So keep continuing being that guy. That's powerful. Because when you're under pressure, when everything feels heavy, sometimes you lose sight of yourself. You forget your identity. You forget your capability. That's when real teammates step in. They remind you. They ground you. They pull you back to center. That's exactly what Shedeur's teammates did at halftime. And that's why he was able to deliver when it mattered most. Now here's the most important part of the entire story. What Shedeur learned about himself this season. When asked what he learned and how important it was to finish the year this way, his response showed a level of self-awareness most veterans never reach. He said, I learned what I like. I learned what I don't like. I learned what I'm seeing. I know what I see well. I know what I don't see well. I learned a lot mentally, emotionally, physically. Everything. That's growth. I think mentally it was how to deal with when things are going your way and when things aren't going your way. How to deal with feelings. That line sums up this entire rookie season for Shedeur Sanders. This year wasn't just about reading defenses. It wasn't just about footwork or mastering a playbook. It was about learning how to survive the emotional grind of being an NFL quarterback, carrying expectations, carrying criticism, carrying the weight of an entire franchise looking for answers. Shedeur wasn't just learning football. He was learning himself. He was learning how to handle pressure that doesn't shut off, how to deal with doubt, how to manage highs and lows that come at you every single week. And he explained it in a way that every young quarterback in this league should hear. He said, so that's what I feel like this year's about. How you gonna deal with the feelings? You could not be playing and feel some type of way, and you could be playing and feel the same way as if you didn't. That's real. He continued, so it's kind of like you gotta create your own reality, and you gotta have that nucleus of people around. And it's not just your family, it gotta be outside too. That's wisdom. That's a quarterback understanding that mindset matters just as much as mechanics. Franchise quarterbacks don't let circumstances control them. They don't let noise shape their confidence. They create their own reality through preparation, belief, and execution. And Shedeur made it clear, you can't do that alone. You need people around you who will tell you the truth, who will lift you up when you're down, who will remind you who you are when things feel heavy. That's leadership. The celebration in the locker room after the game told you everything. When asked what it meant to see the joy, the energy, the emotion pouring out after the win, Shedeur's answer captured the foundation of real teams. He said, I think that we got each other's back. Without the defense, we wouldn't have been able to do anything. Without us as an offense being able to drive down the field, we wouldn't be able to win the game. That's accountability. He added, so I think the tough battle was us just leaning on each other, depending on each other in those key moments. That's how trust is built. That's how bonds form. That's how teams become more than talent on paper. Football is the ultimate team sport. One side can't survive without the other. Myles Garrett can break records, but it doesn't matter without a win. The offense can move the ball, but it doesn't matter if the defense can't hold up. Everyone has to do their job. Everyone has to trust everyone else. That's how championship cultures are formed. What we witnessed on Sunday wasn't just a stat line moment. It wasn't just Myles Garrett breaking the single-season sack record. It wasn't just the Browns ending a tough season with a dramatic win. What we witnessed was the convergence of two franchise cornerstones, one established, one emerging, having defining moments in the same game. Myles Garrett, the defensive leader, the future Hall of Famer, the man who made history, looked at his rookie quarterback and said, I knew he was going to seal it. I'm proud of him. That matters. Shedeur Sanders, a rookie who dealt with pressure, criticism, internal battles, and constant doubt, delivered when it mattered most. He didn't shrink. He didn't panic. He rose. And the franchise legend saw it, acknowledged it, validated it. That's not hype. That's not projection. That's reality. The Shedeur Sanders era in Cleveland isn't a theory anymore. It isn't hope. It isn't potential. It showed up when the game was on the line, when everything was at stake, when the moment demanded clarity, when his franchise legend needed him to deliver. Shedeur Sanders came through. And Myles Garrett confirmed what Browns fans have been waiting to hear for years. This is what a franchise quarterback looks like. This is what alignment looks like. This is how foundations are built. So what do you think about Myles Garrett's words about Shedeur Sanders? Do you believe this was the moment that officially launched a new era in Cleveland? What stood out to you about Shedeur's honesty and vulnerability? Do you think this Browns team, even with a 5-12 record, has something real brewing with these two cornerstones aligned? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about what this moment means for Cleveland's future. If you want daily coverage of Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns, if you want the real story behind this franchise, if you want to follow this journey as this young quarterback continues to grow, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Like this video if you believe in the future of the Browns. Share it with every fan who needs to see this. The quarterback and the defensive leader are aligned. The foundation is being built. Let's ride with number 12.